Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday, the Leading Change episode this week with Linda van Sinten. Linda, let's dive into change. And of course, as Scrum Masters, we very often are involved in either personal, team level, or even organizational level change. So share with us a story of a change process you were involved with, and then walk us through the steps and highlight for us the tips, the tricks, the tools, the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
What I did last time, so I'm thinking I only worked at two big companies, but I'll take the last one. I also shared a story. I was thinking if it was Monday or Tuesday, where I said, I think it was the Monday, that I first tried to force change on people, and that didn't work. So what I did next worked way better. As you know, I really like to draw. So I started drawing everything I saw that I thought was not in line with Scrum. So I got these A4 papers, and in the end, I filled 3 of them. So I had 3 A4 papers filled with drawings of, for example, the drama triangle that we talked about yesterday, and other things that I saw people doing. And the nice thing about drawing this is that I could show it to people without any judgment. So I just showed them the drawings and said, okay, this is what I see. Do you see what I see? And if so, what do you think about it? Without putting any judgment or anything on it, I just asked them curiously, how do you feel about it? And then we had a discussion about how they felt about it. And sometimes they saw what I saw, sometimes they saw it differently. So I started to be really humble, also telling them that I'd like to see their point of view, because I have my view. They are at another place in the space, so they have a different view on things. And together we came to a broader view of how things were going in that company by having the drawings, looking into them, talking about them. I did this with many people, so with teams, and there were people that were like, oh yeah, I got a new insight here that I didn't have before because you were drawing it and we were talking about it. And now I see that we're indeed doing this. I never realized because I was in the middle of it. I just didn't see it. And now that it's up here, indeed, this is happening. And now that you say it, I don't want this. I want to change it. So that was really nice to see. And for some things, they were too big. We couldn't immediately point down like this is what we have to do, but to have it out in the open. And because I shared my drawings with many people started to talk also together on the drawings. And yeah, I always call it like planting seeds. So I planted the seeds, and then people start talking about it. And after a while, some experiments come up and we're starting to try things. And that's how change became a reality and it went happening.
This story, it's kind of if I was to translate that to my own words, it would be about creating an opportunity for reflection, not really pushing change, but just asking, is there a need for change? Not directly, but
Mm-hmm.
as you create the opportunity for reflection, if people acknowledge it, if they say, yeah, that's happening to me, then at that point, they also think, is this the right way? Because for some things, they might say, yes, that's happening and that's fine. But for others, they will say, that's happening and that's surprising. I didn't realize it until you showed it to me, right? Like
Yeah.
what you shared a moment ago. And I think that for us as Scrum Masters, since we are involved in day-to-day change, it's not happening only through change programs or change projects. It's also happening like every day. I think it's a very powerful tool to create that moment of reflection. Some would call it mirroring, right? Like you show something, here's what I see. Do you see the same? And then when they say yes, then you can ask, is this what you want to happen? Right? And then it drives that reflection, which then becomes the catalyst for the change we're trying to create.
Yeah, exactly. I always thought when being an agile coach or Scrum Master that I had to have all the answers. But I noticed that it works better to create a space in which answers from others can arise. So you create space indeed for mirroring, for reflection, and then for other ideas than what is currently there.
Absolutely. Create the space for better ideas, right? It's like
Yeah.
almost, you called it planting seeds, which I think is a great metaphor, but it is really about springing, allowing these ideas to spring from the people who then say, yeah, and I should really be doing this, right? Like I should work in this way, or I should change my approach. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that, Linda.
You're welcome.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role, we'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.